Okay, welcome, Chronic Care Leaders. I'm bringing you Mike Krim. Mike Krim has been in the medical sales space for about 30 years. So we're going to just banter a scenario of a telemarketer, not a telemarketer, or a chronic care leader calling an office. Mike's going to be the chronic care leader, and I'm going to be the gatekeeper. So welcome, Brenda and Leah. Good to see you guys.
Good morning, everyone. Hello.
Hi, Brenda.
Hi.
Good to see you.
Hello. Good to see you also. Hello, Mike. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you virtually. Yes.
Thank you.
So, Mike, do you wanna start?
I would be happy to start. I am get past the gatekeeper scenario 1. So this is my first call, I would assume, into the office. And I definitely want to detail the fact that any office that you're calling is going to be super important, because if you take the statistics on how many doctors' offices are independent, it can range maybe in New York State from about 8%, believe it or not, up until maybe less than 30%. Private doctors' offices, independently owned and operated, fewer than 30% nationwide. And that's kind of a big deal, because that makes your call that much more important. If it was 70% are independent, that would be a much different scenario. So that's what I'm getting at, is each and every call, keep close track of these offices. You might want to call them back over and over, because you may not receive a lot of return calls. So each one becomes more and more important. So Meredith, having said that, I would say that knowing people like to speak about themselves and things like that, or knowing what we want to at least present, I'll start with, I'll go from your script and I'll say, and again, there can be modifications to this, but hi, maybe you can help me. I need to speak to the office manager, please. Who would that be?
That will be Mary Thornton.
Great. Could I please speak to that person?
Can I tell her what this is about?
Well, my name is Mike, and I need her help. I need to help her get more results for your patients through Medicare's chronic care program, so I need to speak to her.
Okay, let me get her for you. So in that scenario, you got past the gatekeeper. Some key things to take away from that scenario. So they said, yes, that'll be Mary Thornton. That usually doesn't happen. Usually they don't give you that office manager name on the ring, but if they do, take note of that and write that down, because that is important information. Even if you just leave a voicemail for this Mary Thornton, you want to make note of that, on your call sheet, that's your contact, because the next time you'll say, may I please speak to Mary Thornton? So this is getting past the gatekeeper scenario 2.
Hi, this is Mike. I was wondering if you could help me. I looked on your company's LinkedIn page, but I couldn't find your name. Are you usually the person who answers the phone? I'd feel much better if I knew your name before I asked a favor. Is this Mary?
Mary here. May I help you?
Thank you, Mary. Now, for my favor, I need to speak to the office manager, please. Who would that be?
So for that, you're trying to extract that name. Ways to get that office manager's name.
I'm going to throw out a little bit more.
Yeah, go ahead.
Meredith, because of personal experience on this program. If you ever have a situation where you can use some type of bridge, you were speaking to your primary care physician and he suggested the following offices to contact, then drop their name. If you had left a message for the office manager, or if you had spoken to the office manager. Today, I basically talked to someone and I said, I spoke with Pat in January, and then in June, I followed up and sent her an email, and she was going to coordinate a Zoom call. I spoke to her 8/23, August 23rd, and she was going to coordinate a Zoom call between me and Dr. Mead. Anything you can use as a bridge to put this gatekeeper more at ease is going to work to your advantage. Whether it was I left a message, I talked to a care manager, and that's another title too, Meredith, that we're not using. But you know you can't reach the office manager. You cannot reach them. They're not going to call you back. Just ask that, say, I wonder if you could help me. And sometimes that helps. But I would say, are there any other individuals involved in this type of thing with your office, like a care manager or a nurse? And that could put us past the gatekeeper there. So I'm going to stop right there for now.
So this would be scenario 1. We've reached the right person. Mary here, may I help you?
Hi, Mary. It's Mike calling. How are you? I'm calling from from Compassionate Chronic Care, and I've got a little problem that I was really hoping you'd like to help me out with. My job is to find medical offices that just don't have time to implement Medicare's chronic care program. Would it be helpful, help your practice if I could help set up your office for chronic care management and more financial success?
How would you do that?
Good question. Before we even get started, it's important that you know that I'm not going to ask you to spend a penny on this. Okay? We are simply interested to see if we can work together and be mutually beneficial to each other. I wanted you to know that up front, because it's a question I get all the time. The way this works is I'm going to take you to our website.
What's your website?
Well, I believe it's CCCM
It's
info at
info at ccmrpm.com.
Let me know when you get there.
Okay, I'm here. Nice.
We're proud of it as well. As you can see, we're motivated to help medical offices make more money by offering chronic care management.
I see that.
Do you see where the www is for our website, top left?
Yes.
At the far end of that white area on the right-hand side is a star. Go ahead and click on that star and then click done.
Done.
Okay, thank you. Now you don't need to remember our website address because you just saved it to your bookmarks bar, so you can find this anytime. At this point, just give me 90 seconds to tell you what's in it for you. And I'd like to tell you that millions of Americans are denied this program because medical offices are too busy to implement the system. You would become heroes to many patients if you looked into this. Secondly, the program is very financially rewarding for your office and doesn't create any additional work for you or your staff. Third, all of the chronic care is outsourced, and I would administer it for you so you don't have to lift a finger. All it takes is a 17-minute chat, so I'll know exactly how you and I can help each other. At the end of our virtual coffee together, you'll know if you need my services or if you're happy where you are. At least you'll have all the information you need to make an intelligent decision. I've done all the talking here, Mary, so let me ask you a question. Obviously, you know your practice much better than I do. Of all the things your business needs, which 3 things do you think are the most important to you?
Certainly less paperwork for one, so I can take care of the patients that we need to take care of.
Okay, good. That's a great place to start. Tell me, is tomorrow between 9 and 10 a good time for us to chat? Or is Thursday between 2 and 3 better for you for a Zoom or a Teams call?
Anytime after lunch on Thursday.
Okay, just one quick question. I know that if you don't like what you see, you can tell us no, right?
So you're getting an affirmation that this is somebody that can make a decision.
On the other hand, if you do like what we show you, and you truly believe it would benefit some of your patients as well as earn your office more cash flow, is there anyone else we would want to include, like a management team or the doctor, in the Zoom or Teams call? Or are you the person that will tell me yes or no, you'd like to delve deeper into this while we're on that call?
So that's great. You want to get to that decision maker. You want to try to get as close as you can. And I'm going to say, I'm the one. I'm the decision maker.
That's great. Thanks, Mary. Tell me yes or tell me no. Either way, it's okay. Just don't say maybe. I can send you a confirmation. What is your email address?
My email is mary@marysemail.com. Well, why do I have to tell you yes or no right away? What if I want to think about it?
Oh, gosh, I'm so sorry. I guess that sounded a little pushy. I didn't mean to be. I should explain it better. You can still take all the time you need. It's just that we've been getting a lot of response because of this telephone campaign. We only have so many time slots we can fill and only so many practices that look at look at a time. We will reach capacity soon. So we won't be able to assist you for weeks or even months after we've reached capacity. And if this is something you'd really feel would benefit both patients and your practice and you'd like to get started, then that's why I asked you if you could say yes or no. Our consultation is for you, to give you all the information for you to make this decision that's right for you.
So, that was good. So, Mike was pushing her he wanted to know if he could get the decision maker on the phone or if she was the decision maker. And that's very important. You don't want to do a great presentation just to, waste it and say, well, I'm not really the one that makes those decisions. You'll have to talk to Sam in our back office, so can be a wasted time for you. Getting to that decision maker as quickly as you can is ideal. So this is scenario 2. I'm busy right now. Call me back tomorrow, just after lunch.
Okay, great. Mary, I have you down for between 1 and 2 tomorrow. Now, just one quick question. I know that if you don't like what you see, you can tell us no, right? On the other hand, if you do like what we show you and you truly believe it could benefit some of your patients, as well as earn your office more cash flow, is there anyone else we should be showing this to, like a management team or the doctor? Or are you the person that tell me yes or no that you'd like to delve deeper into this while we're on the phone or in a Zoom meeting?
I'm the person. I'm the decision maker.
Great, Mary. Once we've gone through how this will benefit your business, tell me yes or tell me no. Just don't say I need to think about it, okay?
Okay.
Great. Thank you. Would you mind giving me your email address and I'll send you a confirmation email for our appointment?
Okay, guys, questions. I just want to look in the chat. Holding there. The group, I did post, hang on, Mike, it is posted in Facebook. This Zoom link is directly posted in Facebook. So hang on a second.
The presentation is being recorded also.
Yes, this is also being recorded, guys. So I will make sure that I post it up on the Facebook group. Okay. So questions, ladies, questions for Mike. So these are a few scenarios that we've gone through. I know the hardest part of chronic care management and running this business is obtaining that contract. There's no one that knows that struggle more than I do. And who better to help us learn the ropes than someone that's been doing it for 30 years? So questions, any questions for Mike, ladies and gentlemen?
I kind of missed the first few minutes of it. I'm Jasmine. I guess I just want to know about, I mean, obviously marketing, but the cold calling is sort of where I have not done it. I'm just too, I guess, scared. I have one physician in the area that I've worked with closely. Um, and he does have a private practice, and that is the one that I really want to get a contract with. So I'm not sure if I should start with him or start with some other offices as practice, or what would you kind of suggest?
I'd say start with what you know. And if you
Okay.
feel good about this one office,
Yeah.
hit that one right away. Yeah.
Okay.
And I would say if you might have missed it in the very beginning of the call, I did stress that only about maybe between 8% to under 30% of all primary care physicians' offices remain independent. Most are owned by these large healthcare.
Oh,
And
I know. I
so
know.
that makes your doctor's office you're discussing even more important, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a
There's
huge deal.
It is. There's a few in my area, and I've created a log and gotten some. I mean, all of their contact information, and I even found one that I have a direct contact with the office manager, which is great. But I have run into that where they're often bought out by larger corporations. Another question, would you recommend, I know at one point Meredith talked about, coming into the office with some merch. Everybody loves pens and post-it notes. Do you feel like that is a good thing to do after a call and kind of just as a follow-up? That was sort of my plan.
I
Or
see
does
that
not
as
matter?
almost maybe earlier in the process.
Okay.
Yeah. Do you have personal items that have your company name on it?
I'm ordering them. I've got the
Okay.
logo and I've got them in the cart. I just haven't actually purchased them.
Okay. Yeah, I wouldn't spend a huge amount of money on those either. I think
Okay.
Meredith and I have determined that a lot of these offices are, I mean, for lack of words, spoiled by the drug reps, right?
Mm,
Your
sure.
target may be internal medicine in one form or another. And then you get an office manager who says, well, you need to bring in lunch for OBGYN and pediatrics. And you're thinking, well, that's not really a target of mine.
Right.
And she says, that's the way we do it. And then you kind of float the question, well, how many people am I bringing food in for? And she says 100.
Yeah.
And because I mean, we're a Medicare biller, we're not a pharma company.
Right.
So I would watch your expenditures, right? I wouldn't just sort of, we've learned that to watch the
Okay.
expenditures closely. But I like the marketing ideas, but I mean, to provide the whole office with pens or
Just a
don't,
few, I think mostly to show my face and, kind of give a face behind the name and just a little something, they grab a pen and, oh yeah, chronic care management. That's right. We should be using her, something like that. More so. I was not planning on buying anybody lunch. But
I think that's a good idea. And tell me
okay.
your relationship with that office that you're talking about.
So this Dr. DeMorris is also a medical director for a hospice agency that I worked with, and he was the doctor that I worked with for a couple of years, very, very closely. I still have his personal number. I haven't called it yet because I'm just trying to, really, really get everything under my belt and make sure that I've got, all the answers and all the tools before I present to him with this. But he, we have a really good working relationship, and so I'm hoping that he will contract with me. I mean, I think that he will. I'm pretty confident that he will. But he runs a great practice. It's pretty big. He's also a concierge doctor, And I mean, he's just great. He's just a really great physician, and I worked with his patients and him. So I'm really hoping that that would be a good fit for me.
I would say what you're doing is exactly right. I would say also leverage the fact that it is a Medicare, Medicaid program
Yeah.
and not just
Totally.
something that you're doing.
Right. Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I'm familiar with it working in hospice, understanding Medicare guidelines and stuff. And so he's keen to that as well.
Meredith, I'm doing a lot of talking. Do you want to address some of those texts that came up?
Yes, and I want to say, who is just, Jasmine? Jasmine,
Yes.
that's a great contact. And I think, you know, once you have all your ducks in a row, I think it's
Mhm.
gonna be, you know, an easy in for, it should be, you know, based on
Yeah.
what you're saying. The doctor's
Yeah.
worked with you, he's comfortable with you. Once you have all your ducks in a row, just
Mm.
make sure you keep us updated.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
So we have a
Thank you.
question from Misha. From your experience, what has been the best way to get the physicians or office managers to listen to your presentation? From my experience, so the best way is I've done some lunches, but I only do a lunch for about 10 people. So we narrow it down. We tell the physicians, you know, this is a Medicare program and I'm not big pharma. You know, I'm a nurse. I hire other nurses. I run this business. So usually they can narrow it down to, you know, 10 people I can provide lunch for. Then they'll listen to me. I've been able to get on a few Zoom calls by just being persistent. You know, if they don't do, you know, in sales, they call it the assumptive close. If they don't say no, pretend they said yes. Keep going until they say they're not interested, you know. That's the best advice I can give for Misha on that. What about you, Mike?
I like what you're saying, and I don't think the Zoom call, to get to one of your other texts that came across, I don't think the Zoom presentation needs to be more than 40 minutes long, unless they're the ones asking all the questions, right? But I know that when I have Meredith on the phone with me and I'm doing some type of Zoom call, that she is going to have all the answers. So I think that's important too, is to really know, and I'm sure you're at that point where you do have all the answers and you can talk freely and educatedly about this program. So I think that's important. If that helps to describe it. I think you're going to run into a lot of different scenarios. You're going to run into staff changes where maybe you try to reach out to somebody, they're not even with the practice anymore. You're going to try to get the office manager and not be successful. And they're overextended, and you're going to try to reach a care manager, is another title maybe that you would want to float when you're asking for a contact, or maybe one of the nurses in a small. So I had an office the other day. We have no office manager. Well, do you have an interim office manager, right? Or, you know, could I talk to a nurse? So just don't let it go, and just don't disconnect because they don't have an office manager. You know, and I don't want to use the words outside the box, but there's got to be somebody who's handling day-to-day stuff or would make decisions or can engage a physician, you know, further in this kind of thing. And if you can get all the important people on the call, if you know that, you know, who else would you want to include in this call so I can send them the invite? If you can get those doctors' addresses, that's huge. Yeah.
Absolutely. Jamie, do I have slides for the Zoom call? So yes and no. Yes, because I want to show them financials, because you always have to say, what's in it for me? Everybody wants to know, even doctors, they want to know what's in it for them. So the benefits to their patients in practice and the financial benefit. So you want to make sure you get to those relatively early in your slide presentation, maybe slide 3 in your presentation. You know, you want to start showing them what's in it for them. How is it going to benefit them? So, and sometimes I have slides for myself just as talking points. So, you know, sometimes you get on these calls, and you're like, darn, I forgot to ask that question. So I always have something in front of me so I don't forget to ask those important questions. Any other questions, guys? So I don't think they fail to see the value. I think A, they're busy, and B, I think that they think it's too good to be true. Like, I had a doctor like snicker at me and say, "What do you mean? You're going to do the work and I'm going to get paid?" I'm like, "Well, kind of." I said, you're going to have a financial benefit, and it's going to benefit your patients, and you're also going to give local nurses employment, local nurses to your practice. And I think that grabs them.
And I think if they're telling you, oh, we already do this internally, you can bring it to their attention. Then they're not necessarily getting paid as just a separate revenue stream into they're paying their people to do this, and they're not decreasing the call load on their offices. And so what's the advantage to doing it internally? And that's an office where Meredith and I have run into that. We've sat down and talked to some people who were just beginning a program, and Meredith knows the exact office that I'm talking about. And I've tried following up with them to just see how it's working out, because I know the wait times, and I know the fact that many times when I call, I cannot get through to anyone at that office. So whatever they're doing isn't really solving that problem. And some offices too have the perception that maybe it's going to involve a lot of administrative work for their staff, when in actuality, and Meredith really defined this for me the other day, it's just some reconciliation with the biller once a month, which is not really that big a deal for someone to help out with EMR stuff. So it doesn't involve a lot of administrative time on the doctor's side. You're going to get those questions, or you're going to get that perception, even if they're not talking about it.
And so is that kind of how you word that when they say, well, we're going to have to send in the billing? Do you say it's just, we provide you with the forms and the codes, times used, and your biller that's billing anyways will reconcile that? Or is that when you kind of offer to split the bill, or only if they say, well, hey, I'm paying the biller? Or
So we go through, in the course, we go through how to get that fee. There's a little video on the Facebook group. Jess, is that still on there? Still on there, right? There's a little video. And if you have more questions on how to get that fee, so that's taken, so Medicare pays the first 80%, the secondary picks up the other 20%. So wherever you're located, take whatever percentage, your 60 or 70% of that first 80%. And that would be your fee. And there's a video that'll explain it better, Jasmine, but if you have more questions,
no, that's good. I mean, that's only if they're asking for your help with the biller, since we're kind of using them too, right? Then you say, okay, well, we can, work that out.
That's a negotiation too. Sometimes you have to split the cost. If they're paying the biller, sometimes you say, okay, we'll split it. I'll pay 1.5% to the biller, so.
Yeah, I can't imagine it would be much. We're just, we're helping them. And I think that that's the main thing that we need to come across, or to get across, is we're we're helping their practice. Okay. Yeah. That's kind of a passive income for them. So for their office. Okay.
So Stephanie has had a pitfall with negotiation of payment. When do I discuss the percentage breakdown and the signing of the contract? Do you recommend doing a month free, or say 50 patients or so they can see the return? I would say do nothing for free. You are a nurse. Do nothing for free, ever, ever, ever. Okay. And we never talk percentage. So we may talk percentage when we talk about fees, but when you talk to the doctor, you never want to say, I'm going to take a percentage of that fee, because what that translates to them is, when that fee comes in, that's when I'm going to pay you. No. You're going to assign a fee. This is going to be your fee per code. I'm going to charge $36 per 99490, and that's your first chronic care management code. You're going to get so comfortable with that, you're going to be able to ramble that off to them. And our fee is based on work that's done. So your office, you don't pay for any work that's not billable. So that keeps more money in your pocket. You're not paying anybody hourly. I'm implementing and managing this program from start to finish. So I would say, Stephanie, I would say do a trial, do a CCM trial of 50 patients, but you're going to bill for those 50 patients. And on the Facebook group, the CCM trial is up there in the documents. Is it up there, Jess? The CCM
Yes.
trial? Yeah. So look up the CCM trial on the Facebook group. I know it's a document up there, and it's just the, trial 50 patients. It's got the codes on it. You guys are welcome to use that. That's why I put that up there. Sometimes that's a good hook to hook them in. Here's 50 patients. You can see what I can do. Give me 50 of your sickest patients. Just an option.
And I just wanted to add too real quick is from my experience, whenever you call and or have a meeting, you may not get a yes right away. It's usually a no, but always leave with a follow-up date or call or action. I learned that, and that kind of helps because you're going to definitely have to follow up.
You have some like verbiage or language for that? Because I might be like, oh, okay, but that's obviously not a good way to end that, I mean, what would you say if they're like, oh, well, we're, not handling this internally, but we're not interested in that right now?
Okay, then when would be a good time for me to follow up and to, maybe not now, but next month,
Okay.
a couple months down the road, somebody may just need some time or else they need to talk to somebody else, and just always, kind of dig deeper there and make sure you leave with an appointment or a follow-up email,
Okay.
anything.
Okay. Thank
Yes.
you.
And also, you could say these programs are being run. If the physician's not running them, the insurance company is going to run them. They're going to completely cut the doctor out of this. Working with me, you're working straight. I'm working directly with the primary care provider. The patient really does get the value of this program, unlike an insurance run program where it's not run the same. They're really, they don't have EMR access. They're not working with the primary care provider. So, they're, what benefit they have is much, much different from the program that we run. That's why, I think chronic care leaders is so important to get this out here. I want to see these programs run correctly in the right way.
And what I think I've seen just in some, preliminary research of the insurance companies who do it, I don't know that they're licensed professionals who are doing it or even real people a lot of the time. It sounds like it's a lot of automated stuff that's going out to the patients. So, I mean, that's another, I guess, way that we can kind of sell ourselves. You're getting a licensed nurse, a personalized care, blah, blah, that kind of thing.
No, absolutely. I agree. That's one of my big selling points. You're getting an actual nurse. I don't use call centers. I use local nurses, local to that practice, local to that area. And if you stay true to that, there's not many others that can knock you down. Honestly, what I've seen in the market, Famisha, to speak more about the insurance company aspect, the program that they run, they have to extract all of that information from the patient. They don't have EMR access. They're not speaking with the physician's office on a weekly basis. It's just a very different program. They're more so connecting. They're connecting with more community resources. Jessica can speak of this. Jessica worked for Humana for X amount of years doing chronic care management.
Yep. And really not even having access to the physician or really what was going on. It was very limited what we offered patients. Very limited.
And so you guys can appreciate and understand all of the value that we bring as nurses working directly with their primary care provider. So how can they bill for that? Because they have doctors. These are Blue Cross and Blue Shield, United Care. They have doctors that they bill their NPIs. That's how they bill for it. And they send the doctors, I see in my EMRs, they send the doctors letters saying this patient has been enrolled in their chronic care management program. So I got on the phone to my patient and said, well, Dr. Smith is offering this program and recommends that you join the practice. And it's a very easy yes. Usually the patient would rather work with their primary care provider and have direct access to their primary care physician than this stranger working for the insurance company. I mean, that's how I roll it. Well, guys, I had a hard stop at 1:30 and I'm already over. So thank you, everyone. This was I hope this was helpful. I'll continue to bring in experts as I can. I'll see you guys on our Zoom call tonight. Bye, guys. Thank you, Mike.
Thank you, Meredith.
Thank you.
Thank you.